Rafa's first signings for Everton said to be Demarai Gray for $1.5 million, and our great friend here at talkSPORT, Andros Townsend, who's on his way out of Palace for nothing, Asmir Begovic on a free. So what does that tell us about Everton, Danny? I mean, are they going to go to the next level with signings like that? With all due respect to Andros Begovic and Gray, are we about to witness less of a Hollywood feel to Farhad's Everton?
They don't excite you, do they, those signings? I understand the Begovic one because Pickford's number one and you need some cover. And Begovic, experience, super pro. I get that. Bit of cuteness in the market. You don't have to spend millions on every player in your squad. You have to be cute. But let's put things in perspective. Everton spent a fortune last summer, didn't they? And they've brought in a lot of players. And the nucleus of the squad's quite good. But it's hard to judge their transfer business now, when just because they might bring in one or two frees or cheap signings to bolster the squad, they might still go out and spend on a couple of billion.
They might.
So, and he's got a lot of dough, Dion, and he is ambitious. He's backed his managers before. As I said previously, when Rafa, I think it's a great appointment, I think he would have gone in there with the promise of a decent treasure chest. I can't see him having to rely on freebie, the odd $1.5 million and a free from Palace. Come on.
Well, I mean, but the fact is, though, when Farhad was speaking to Rafa, no doubt Farhad was well aware that Rafa's done this kind of business, getting the best out of players at this level, as he did at Newcastle. Well,
Gray's a talent, but he's lost his way a little bit. Townsend's experienced and he's got ability, but they're not better than Richarlison and Rodriguez, are they? So they're backup, aren't they? From the looks of it. What they need is players to come in that first 11 and make them better.
Yeah.
That's what they need. Two or three of them.
I mean, do you think Moshiri, without second guessing him, Simon, is of a mood to throw in some big ones as well?
He wouldn't have gone, Rafa. He wouldn't have gone otherwise.
Well, there's your answer.
You consider Rafa's there.
No wonder we had
a new stadium move.
No wonder we had Andros Townsend here waxing lyrical about Rafa Benitez, eh? So look, no, neither one of those signings. But the goalkeeper is an irrelevance because he's a second choice goalkeeper.
Correct, yeah.
So that's not really anything besides a stocking filler.
It makes sense, doesn't it?
It's no more interesting than Lee Grant signing for Manchester United or whoever it was winning there as a second, third choice goalkeeper. I think Lee Grant was there as well, wasn't he? But you go back and look at what the reasons why Benitez would have gone into Everton. We are assuming that he will have the currency and the juice to have said to Moshiri, I'm only coming in here if I'm getting some backing. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's the case, Danny, because he's been out of football. He's been in China for a couple of years. He's coming back desperately trying to get into the Premier League. And Everton was a job that is a decent job. I would expect him to be given some backing because why else would he go there besides wanting an opportunity back in the Premier League again? And I think it's, as Danny has said, if you look at these signings in isolation, you can't say anything about them, can you? Because they're not particularly exciting at all. But when we talk about this Hollywood regime, they spent a lot of money. They spent a lot of money badly.
Yeah, they did.
Right, so we
not all bad, but yeah.
Well,
some of it.
Well, let's have a look at the signings and say which ones. Richarlison was a good bit of business, but they paid over the odds for that because they got up Watford's nose.
Yeah, James was Hollywood. To a degree, and it was Farhad who said
they got him on a free, didn't they?
Koeman was Hollywood.
They got him, but what players are we talking about? We're talking about signing Gylfi Sigurdsson because they paid too much money for him. That's a Hollywood signing. Are we talking about signing Theo Walcott because Arsenal didn't want him? Are we talking about signing Alex Iwobi because Arsenal didn't want him?
We're talking Hollywood signings. Players of profile.
Yeah, but I was just saying there have been a few decent. So if you look at Godfrey taking the lad from Norwich, he's going to be a super player for them. That was good business. That was logical.
Yeah. But when he took the job, Rafa said, got to operate within FFP, and he stressed that. He emphasised that. So, well, this is their way of doing it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's true or not, because first and foremost, the FFP regulations have been relaxed for the last 2 years to allow clubs to trade through the pandemic and the implications of it. And signing players, as I've told you regularly, doesn't necessarily breach your financial fair play obligations. Because ultimately a player's value gets capitalised on a balance sheet.
Yeah.
It's how much wages you pay and so on and so forth. And Everton will cut their cloth accordingly.
Well, Rafa said it.
But this team finished 10th last year, and I know that Rafa's had this observation about installing a winning mentality in the club, which I assume wasn't there under Carlo Ancelotti, and Carlo Ancelotti didn't have that mentality, and it's unique to Rafa Benitez.
What is it?
Well, it's just winning games, isn't it? It's a winning mentality. The players don't turn up to lose games, do they? And it's about how they're led. And obviously there was a swipe back at Ancelotti and the culture that he may have created at the club, but they finished 10th last year, right? So if you're gonna have a slightly depleted squad with players that aren't as good as the ones that you've got there, or you're gonna balance it up with players like Demarai Gray and Andros Townsend, I don't see how you're going to finish above 10th in the league.
No, it's hard to see. It is hard to see, but that's the direction they're going in at the moment.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.